everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Sales Spotlight. I am thrilled to have you all here today as we embark on this exciting journey into outreach, communication, and business strategies. I'm your host, Sean, and this podcast is all about bringing you real, raw, and unfiltered insights from industry experts who have mastered the art of making meaningful connections and achieving remarkable results. Today, we have an exceptional guest joining us, someone who is a true master of the outreach game. He is a driving force behind the highly successful cold email lead generation agency and his company, Omni Online Strategies. Omni Online has been helping businesses reach new heights through innovative and strategic outreach tactics. Please give a warm welcome to our guest, Joshua.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sean. Great to be here.
Thank you, Joshua, for being here with us today. We are looking forward to diving into your wealth of knowledge and experience. But before we do that, let's take a moment to get to know you a little better. And if you can tell us a little bit about yourself in your journey in the world of outreach and lead generation, please.
Sure. So, my name is Josh again, and I am a former Navy SEAL. I am an agency owner with about 15 years in sales and marketing. First sales, then marketing, and I think that helped a lot. I am a family man. My hobbies are swimming, hiking, and underwater free diving. We're a full service agency. We have an emphasis on email marketing and cold outreach. We work with clients across the board, mainly US based companies. And of course, we do the same for ourselves. Again, I'm very excited to be here, Sean.
Thank you so much for that, Joshua. If you can give us a little bit of understanding behind your clients, where are your clients based majorly, and what kind of industry they are from?
Most of the clients are, again, US based companies from industries from lending and loan to medical supply and equipment, um, general contractor, wholesale manufacturing. Most of the clients would work with some kind of an online product, or at least um, the product can be sold online. A big process of a big part of the selling process would be online. They would work national and mostly B2B. So in those cases, of course, cold emails can be utilized.
All right, excellent. Today's topic is about what are the recommended best practices that a cold email lead gen agencies should adhere to when assessing a cold email software for their specific business needs. So, the first question I have for you, Joshua, is what are some high level best practices that you follow when assessing cold email software for your lead gen agency?
So I think that the software can be seen really as a hub, right? This is where you centralize your cold email efforts. You want to be able to have this cockpit when you can really monitor and manage your cold email, which is really a field with a lot of moving parts, and make the right decisions. So given the nature of cold emails and the fact that it really is an ever-changing world, you want to make sure that with time you build a sustainable, reliable, and robust system. And the last thing you want by the time you get there is to switch to another platform. So this is why making the right purchasing decision from the get-go is highly crucial with cold emails.
Makes sense. Do you see any uh, challenges, or have you encountered any kind of challenges when you were assessing cold email software for your own agency?
Yes, for sure. So just recently, Zoho Mail, which used to be one of the favorite destinations for cold email marketers for mailboxes, if not banned completely cold emails, really made it way more difficult now, which made a lot of folks I know to try to find new solutions. So we've literally had to remove hundreds of mailboxes from Zoho and create this different arrangement of mailboxes, and
Oh my
having a
God.
good
Okay.
software in place that allowed us to do that was definitely something that we felt lucky to. to have.
Well, I can imagine that would have been a tedious task for you to do
Sure
that,
was.
and then reconnecting a lot of other mailboxes. That's insightful. I will dig in a little bit more into it as we go on. The second question I have for you is, how do you identify and prioritize the features and functionalities for your cold email software for your agency?
Right, that's a great question. So, cold email, I would say that the two main things are A, deliverability, and second, the functionalities that allow you really to carry a communication that is just special to email marketing. This is a personalized, segmented, on time, almost direct communication that can be automated with a human touch. So this is very, very special to email marketing. So having those two components, of course, deliverability, when it comes to that, the software is not what determines the deliverability. That is your arrangement, your mailboxes. But the software really needs to give you a lot of tools to make sure you orchestrate deliverability to its to its best. And the second thing, with the other capabilities that allow you that kind of communication, I would say that nowadays having the ability to connect multiple mailboxes and having rotating IPs would be incredibly important. The second thing is, again, you want to keep yourself in one software, so you send out to hundreds of thousands of people, and you communicate with them. You want to have a shared inbox. You want to be able to have some kind of advanced sequences. You want to be able to monitor the performance, and you want to be able to segment your database and work in your database in a way that is just allows you to effortlessly remove lists, tag, almost. It's not a CRM, of course, but you do need to work a lot with your database. So this would be something that just goes hand by hand with good email marketing, good cold email marketing.
Makes sense. Recently, I think it has not been more than a year or 2 years, probably, but we saw a lot of cold email software companies coming up with this benefit of adding unlimited email accounts and not charging the clients or their customers seat basis, but they charge you volume basis. How do you see this coming in as a benefit to the best practices when people follow 50 emails per day per mailbox? Wherein if you go back 2 years, behind, when people used to uh, they were charged basis the email accounts or the seats, versus now when people are being allowed, or there are softwares in the market who allow you to connect unlimited email accounts. And how do you see that game changer, or how do you perceive it? Is it good? Is it how is it? Has this been a great benefit for you as an agency?
It has been a great benefit, and in fact, I think that if the software creators and developers, some of them, of course, not all software, uh, the fact that they keep up with the fluctuality of the field allows the users really to keep up with it as well. So definitely nowadays, it's not the days that you could have just a handful of mailboxes and send out emails to the entire world. You have to plan that right, and you have to have just an arrangement of many, many mailboxes. And of course, if the pricing, um, if they haven't changed the pricing plans to allow you to do that, that would really hurt the cost effectiveness of cold emails. So I think that's a blessing. It's very effective and very helpful that Sound Software, of course, allow that kind of pricing model.
Makes sense. I would also want to touch base on email warm up in the month of Jan 2023, when Google made that API policy change, wherein there was a distortion basically in the market for the cold email software companies specifically. And there were a lot of agencies were struggling with finding the right software to get their emails warmed up to have that sender reputation built. Do you think email warm up has a great impact on the overall cold email software assessment in your case?
Yes, for sure. So at some point, just recently, as you point out, Gmail has just shut down IMAP warm up options, and we had to find solutions like many other cold email marketers. And given the fact that warming up a sending IP or a mailbox is just essential to deliver the message. If you don't do that, basically you're not going to get a reputation that will allow you to go through the spam filters. So I think that the software that we're able to react fast to that change, and I'm telling you, within a couple of days, they already found solutions that allowed us at least to find a different solution to warm things up that really calmed us down, and that was really good to have. So yeah, that again, it goes back to having a good software that is able to be on top of the game and help the users to adapt fast to changes.
Probably I want to touch a point where now AI or machine learning is taking making a huge impact in the world of cold emailing specifically. People want to highly depend on AI. They want to be lazy, and the content creation for them should happen automatically. Do you think it's going to be a great practice? What is the impact in your kind of business of AI?
Sure. So I think that it's important to remember that in the other end of the discourse, these are people. And the end goal of email marketing and cold email marketing in particular is to make some kind of impression, emotional impression, or some kind of impact in people and to make people act. Now, we talk a lot about content. Is content the end goal of email marketing? No, it's moving people. We talk a lot about adding value. Is adding value the end goal of cold emails? No, it's moving people. So AI tools can really be helpful, but will I go to a movie that is written by an AI tool? Maybe. At the end, I'm going to movie to make some impression, to feel something. And this is something that we have to import. Me personally, I take a lot of ideas from screenwriters to cold emails. And I can say that one quote by Robert Frost, he was a poet. He said, "No tears in the writer, no tears in the reader. No emotions in the writer,
Wow.
no emotions in the reader." So
Wow.
we need to remember that.
That is amazing. Yes, indeed. If you don't have emotions, I was just reading a book, Psychology of Sales by Brian Tracy, and it talks deeply about how emotions drive decisions for a buyer, right? And if you don't have emotions, AI, of course, with AI, emotional intelligence coming in place, they can make an impact, but not to an extent wherein a human can actually make that emotional impact in the email content. So yeah, that completely makes sense. I got third question for you. Let's dive deep into some of the use cases, Joshua. Can you highlight some cold email use cases for your clients in your current space of a business?
Sure. So the first example that pops in mind is in lending. So a client that's big in a big lender, big in business loans, reaching out to businesses basically. And we know that with cold emails, we see now as people speak about open rates above 40%. With lending, it's hard. It's hard to you want to if you're above 20-30%, that's really good. And we're able to do that. And the reason we were able to do that is the segmentation of the audience. But I want to say something about that segmentation. A very common mistake, I think, is segmenting the audience based on your products. And this is, again, listening to ourselves and not to them. We're like, that's our product. I'm going to segment everyone based on the product, based on is it business equipment lending or SBA loans. These are not necessarily the segments, because these people, what they have in mind is their business. So if you're able to understand where they are, what sectors they serve, what are their pain points really, I think that the segmentation is way more effective. So in this case, we just broke it down to their sectors and we really made a lot of research to understand what are the pain points in each sector. And I was trying to think as a business owner, say if I have some farm in Midwest somewhere, what do I have in mind? What do I want to listen to? What kind of email would I open? And that kind of segmentation really led to great performance, great return on investment for this lender. And just I think it's a good example of how good communication, good segmentation can really be efficient.
Makes sense. Question, Josh. I think this has made a lot of sense so far. And for me, the final question I have for you for this episode is how do you measure, or what are the key factors that you keep in mind assessing the cost and the ROI when you're implementing a cold email software for your business?
For sure, Sean. So I think that the first thing you want to have in mind, this makes sense for me. It really is to have your target revenue in mind. Then okay, let's say that's a particular number. And from that, you can calculate and say, I know right now how much I price a package or a service, how many sales do I need a month? Great. If you know your conversion rate, that is to say, how many sales meetings you need a month in order to make that number of sales happen, you can basically break down and map out your cold email plan, because in order to get that amount of meetings a month, how many people do I need right now to read my emails? And I said, read my emails, not to get my emails, just to read my emails. So if I get this and that amount of people reading my emails, and out of them, some percentage go ahead and book a meeting with me, now I can scale that up. Now, reading the email, that's my open rate. So based on how many emails do I need to send out in order to get that open rate percentage? And once you have all that outlined, you can really see what is the weak joint that needs to be optimized. You can say, wow, I sent, say, 100,000 emails a month and the sales are not as expected. Now I can look through all that funnel and identify the weak points that needs to be enhanced. By the way, 100,000 emails a month nowadays, that we know that for each mailbox, we do want to keep ourselves below, say, 500 emails a day, even lower than that sometimes. In cold emails, you're going to need some good arrangement of, say, almost 14, 15 mailboxes running every day, rotating IPs. And by the way, if you do sequences, meaning that you want to send follow-up emails to those who are already engaged, of course, you're going to need more than that. So having all those details mapped out really helps. I think it's important to understand your pricing models, and everything else really derives from that, if it makes sense.
It does. And that gives me a little feeling to ask you this question. I think it is appropriate to ask you right away is what spot of your funnel, like you mentioned, right? It's the entire process, and you have joints, right? And you're trying to figure out which joint or which spot needs to be optimized if you're not getting conversions out of your cold email process. Which is your favorite spot that you have optimized and you have explored and you have been successful? What are your learnings there?
That's an excellent question. As everything has to be orchestrated, of course, the sales call, when having someone who is a warm lead, meaning he's already they're already interested in your product, and that you were just strangers, just people that were never exposed to your brand, were never exposed to your market, and then you have them on the call, and they're actually not only interested in your value proposition, they're already like you're in a way better position in that sales. I think as cold email marketers, we really need to keep that in mind for the companies and the businesses that we serve, that we help them out. They want to get, because at the end they have a sales team, and they have salesmen, and those people, they need to get those leads, not only a bunch of names. They need to get those leads. They need to be able to speak with people who are already halfway buying their products. That our job as marketers. We need to be able to set those meetings and send over leads who are already, their state of mind is already halfway there. So seeing that kind of performance happening in front of your eyes as a marketer is always very pleasing and very nice to see. I personally enjoy that a lot.
Awesome. How many in this box right now? How many leads do you generate via cold email on an average in a month? If I may ask that question.
So we work with hundreds of thousands leads a month, sometimes per business. Some businesses, they only need 10,000 a month. Some businesses, we literally send campaigns to lists of over 1 million leads a month. Of course, out of that, many of them we're going to need to remove from the list and work on that database a lot. So these are the numbers we're looking at. I can tell that it's amazing to be able to, once you serve a variety of companies, you really see all kind of business models, and very, very successful businesses do rely solely on email marketing, nothing else, cold emails. And I would say that their secret is over time having a list that is, and I'm taking a term that one of my clients coined, just having a rock solid list that was, and that's a coin, that was scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed over and over again until they have a list that they know as people open their emails, they listen to what they have to say, they trust them, they're an authority in their eyes, and this is how they maintain a very well business. In this case, by the way, investment banking. And
Okay.
I would say that really is a secret sauce to good cold email performance.
I agree 100%. I think that is more relevant for a lot of lead gen cold email experts watching this episode. Uh, your data is your key to a great success that you are looking forward to, and I think that is going to be giving you or bringing the ROI when you invest in a cold email software. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for your time, Josh. I hope people who have watched or they're listening to this podcast have got some insights, some real life scenarios, real use cases they have uh, got through this podcast. And we'll look forward to the next episode. Talking to you soon again, Joshua.
Likewise, Sean, thank you very much for having me.